fine wine takes time. Hitting a fastball. Serving an ace in tennis. Fine distinctions. The experts say that it takes a minimum of 1 to 5 years for a wine to age. Other experts say it takes you can have no more than 10 years. The consumer believes that the longer the aging, the better. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
There we go.
A 95-mile-an-hour fastball takes a half a second from the pitcher's mound to home plate. That means that the batter has 0.2 seconds of reaction time to hit the fastball. In tennis, it takes also a half a second from baseline to service line. But because the opponent, the tennis player, is a little bit further behind the service box, his reaction time is about 0.4 seconds, a little bit longer. Thank you. Fine distinctions. Moet & Chandon is the winery that makes Dom Perignon. They've been in business for 277 years. Robert Mondavi, by contrast, or by comparison, has been in business since 1943, and then Robert Mondavi split off from his brother and has been in business since 1966. Barry Bonds, fine distinctions. Barry Bonds has the home run record. Roger Federer has over 17 Grand Slams. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book The Outliers, says that it takes 10,000 hours to achieve mastery. That's 8 hours a day, every day, 5 days a week, every week, for 50 weeks, 5 years. Think about your job, your career, your sport of choice. How long have you been in your career or your sport of choice? Fine distinctions. Michael Phelps said that when you were in college studying, he was swimming. When you were out dating, he was swimming. When you were partying and having fun, he was swimming. And of course, we all know that he has the most gold medals in swimming. What I'd like to share with you are some of the fine distinctions in tennis. And those fine distinctions. So, I started playing tennis when I was about 8 to 10. My dad took us to the park, and while he was off playing his match, I would play against the backboard. And the backboard had a line where the net was. And I would stand hitting balls over and over and over again, attempting to make sure that I kept the ball above that line, playing a game over and over and over again. By the time I hit high school, I did join the tennis team in high school. And about 10 years ago, I played competitively in doubles and began to win awards. We were ranked #1 in San Diego in our division, the 4.5 division, which is just one of the levels in tennis. So what I'd like to share with you are some of the fine distinctions in tennis. A racket and a ball. It seems so simple, yet whiff, net, fence. So let's start with the racket. In the old days, back in the 60s, 70s, and even before, of course, tennis got started about 1918 or so, we started with wood rackets, literally, made out of wood. And unfortunately, I don't have one of my old wood rackets. I think I'm going to go on eBay and look to find one because it's so cool to have one. And we actually had to have presses. They were in the shape of trapezoids, so they were a press that they were smaller across the top, larger across the bottom. And we actually had to turn a screw in order to clamp down the wood, because the wood would actually warp overnight if you didn't have it clamped down after we played tennis. Rackets then moved to metal with Jimmy Connors, and ultimately today, in today's game, we have a racket that looks like this, which is made out of graphite, which is a carbon and fiberglass composite. The grip of the racket, there's actually, if you can see it, there's 8 different bevels or edges on the racket. And so when we grip the racket, there's different types of grips. The most common is what we call the Western grip, and it's basically the knuckle of the hand is flat on the racket face. And what this allows us to do is to get a very nice smooth stroke, and the position of the stroke tends to be a little bit right around the waist. The semi-eastern is when we move our knuckle a little bit to the next bevel, the next edge, so it's a little bit underneath. And so what you can see is now, if I do that same stroke, I've got a different position here. So what happens is the hitting zone tends to be a little bit higher. And every tennis stroke is low to high. And what that does is that creates topspin on the ball. And so as the ball is going over the net, the topspin, just like a baseball, like a sinker, slides down into the court. So the tennis player can hit a ball somewhat high, but with the topspin, brings the ball over the net and down into the court. And then we have the Eastern grip, and the Eastern grip is actually on the 90-degree edge. And so sometimes you'll see the tennis players, and it looks very awkward because their hand is like this. And what happens is the hitting zone now is much higher. And so they hit the ball with a much higher position and arc. Fine distinctions. Creating mastery. What are your fine distinctions and the mastery in your job, your career, your sport of choice? Thank you.